This video is going to show you how to access ADAM data and reports. Once your students have finished the ADAM assessment, you can log into your teacher account and go to Assessments and click on ADAM. The first thing you can do is select which class of students that you are going to look at their data for. You can also put in a date range. The default is going to be the most recent assessment for each student in that class. The default for mode is going to be their grade level, but you can select raw if you want to look at their raw scores instead of grade levels. Also, under the strands, it'll automatically show you the summary, but you can choose the different subtests if you want to look at an individual strand. We'll come back to that in a moment. Students are going to be sorted from last name A through Z. You can use the sort buttons to change that. This grade column here is the grade that the students were in when they were assessed on this particular assessment. So Jalen was at the end of first grade when she took the test, this most recent test. This grade score column is going to give you an average score of all 5 strands, so this can be used for accountability purposes. And again, you can use these sort buttons if you want to. Each of these different strands, ADAM is made up of 5 strands: numbers and operations, measurement, data analysis, geometry, and algebraic thinking. You're going to have a grade equivalent score for each student for each of those strands. A 2.1 is indicating that a student is at the beginning of second grade level. A 1.5 would be the midpoint of first grade level. A 2.78 is towards the end of that grade. Any scores that are in bold, like this one here for geometry and algebraic thinking, that means that the student is working 0.25 or more grade levels below their physical grade level. So this is the summary. We can go back up to the filter and choose a particular strand. So if we pull up the measurement strand and click on filter, we're now going to see the individual subtest scores for the measurement strand. So it's measurement, the overall score that Jalen got was a 1.67, and there are 7 different subtests that make up measurement: money, time, temperature, length, weight, capacity and volume, and rate. Again, a score that is in bold or heavy type is indicating they're working below their physical grade level. A 0.9 is the end of kindergarten score. Jalen was at the end of first grade when she took this test, so she needs to work on some of those money skills. A less than grade level score indicates that the student was unable to answer the lowest level of questions in that particular subtest. NT means not tested, so we didn't feel that the student was ready to be tested on that particular area. Even though ADAM covers K through 7th grade material, not all of the subtests are going to cover that range. So temperature actually starts at covers 2nd and 3rd grade. Time covers 1st through 3rd grade material. So for each of those different strands, you can pull up the different subtests and the information. In addition, for each strand, you can go and look at instructional placement for the students. So here where it says money, if I click on that drop down menu, here are all of the different subtests that make up the measurement strand. If we choose weight and click on instructional placement, it's going to show me all the different constructs that are within the weight subtest, tells me what they are and which students need to work on each of those skills. So Brianna, Tina, and Xavier all need to work on comparing and converting customary and metric units of weight. Evan needs to identify the appropriate unit for different measures of weight, and then he can move on to this next level. So you're really going to read this potentially from the bottom up. At the very bottom of the page, you'll see the students who have mastery of these particular subtests. So Ella and Mike, they've mastered this skill. They don't need to work on this skill anymore. So we're now back on the summary page. We can look at the detailed reports. If you're actually on one of the individual strands, you would look at the detailed reports for those strands. So if we click on report and click on detail, we can now pull up a report that's going to show us the construct level. So right down to the different constructs for each student. So you get a nice cover report with a little bit of information about the atom, details about the student, what grade level, how old, and what the date that they were assessed. And then if we go to, say, measurement, each of the pages is going to be a different strand. We can now see what the instructional points are for this particular student. So measurement, it has those 7 different subtests: money, time, temperature, length. And now we can see the different constructs that make up each of those subtests. So money has 2 constructs: money recognition. This is counted as an end of kindergarten skill, and the student is showing mastery. A plus on this page indicates they were tested on it and they showed mastery of it. Money values is the other construct within money. It's counted as an end of second grade skill. She was tested, but she didn't show mastery. If we look at time, you can see there are 4 different constructs that make up time. And Jalen, when she was tested on it, she wasn't able to answer the reading a clock skills. So this is an end of first grade skill. She was at the end of first grade when she took this test. So this would definitely be an instructional point for this student. You can look up or see 3 different sets of results on this page. As the student is tested again, her second set of results will drop in this number 2 column and third in number 3. So you can really see the progress that they've made over time. You'll see the most recent 3 sets of results. Other reports that you have are a summary. So if we pull up the summary report, you can look at it with or without scores. And this is going to show you in red when the students are working below their grade level. So a red dash or a red asterisk indicates they need to work on these skills. So you can see location and direction. She's working at a mid-kindergarten level. The star is highlighting those areas. So she needs to work on these 3 things. The other skills in the geometry strand are actually all second or third or higher grade level, so she doesn't really need to work on those just yet because she's only just finished first grade. So each of the strands, you can see the areas that we've highlighted. The other thing that you can do on this report is refer to the raw scores. So there are 271 different constructs that the students may be tested on within the ADAM K7 test, within the whole test. And in the numbers and operations strand, there are 105, but that covers the whole K through 7th grade area. So when Jalen was tested, she was able to answer 14 different constructs correctly within the numbers and operations. It's not necessarily the number of test items she was given, it's the number of constructs. So 14 different constructs. That placed her in this range of 14 to 22, which gives her her low second grade score. Another report that you have is previous assessment. So if a student has taken the assessment more than once, again you can click on the report button and you'll see previous assessments. So if we click on that, and here they are. No matter how many times the student has taken the assessment, you will be able to see all of those results and the data in the reports. You can come to this gain chart column and put a check mark in the box and click on display, and it's going to show you how the student has done over time. Now this student actually only was tested on her numbers and operations strand the very first time, so that's why it says NT, not tested for the other strands. But you can see in 6 months she's made some really good progress in her numbers and operations. Another report are the standards report. So if we click on standards, you can choose to look at by Common Core or state standards. And you can adjust the grade range. The default is going to be the student's physical grade level, but you might want to expand that out at either end. Click on display. And this is going to show you what the student needs to work on in relation to the Common Core or the state standards. So Jalen here, kindergarten, a check in the box here indicates mastery, a blank box indicates non-mastery. So here are 4 or 5 items that she really needs to work on at a kindergarten level as far as the Common Core state standards are concerned. Another report is differentiated instruction. If your school has access to the Khan Academy on their account, then you can, once the student has finished the ADAM assessment, you can go to differentiated instruction and you can see what the student would be assigned if they were to work on Khan Academy. So click on display. And we are going to prioritize the lessons for the student. A high need is going to be 1 or more grade levels below their physical grade level. Low need are below their grade level. And then no priority would be grade level or above. So we have the 5 different strands. So we can see here numbers and operations. This student has a high need of 2 lessons and a low need of 6. If we scroll down, you can see place value, lesson 1 is a low need, but here's addition of whole numbers. She has 2 lessons that are prioritized as high need. So if the student was going to work on Khan Academy, you might want to direct her to work on the high need lessons first. As the student is working on the lessons, you'll be able to see how many times they've worked on it and the date that they last logged on. And you can check out the URL as well. If you don't have Khan Academy on your account and you want it to be, just let customer service know at Let's Go Learn and they can add it to your account. If you have the LGL Edge instructional piece on your account, then you can go to Instruction and click on Math Edge. Once the student has finished the assessment, you'll be able to enroll them into the appropriate course. On the Reports tab, you can look at some more reports for your group of students. For ADAM, the raw scores is really helpful. It's going to give you just raw data across all of the different strands. You can also look at the assessment total time, which is going to tell you how much time the student spent on each strand, each subtest, what the average response time was for the questions, and the number of questions that they were given. And that's it. Thank you.